Hey, my fellow multidimensional alchemists, it's Aisha Love, founder of Multidimensional You. So I am bringing you the higher love today from the higher elevation of the high country in Grand Teton National Park, right on the border with Yellowstone up the road, where I've also been filming and touring and doing multidimensional mission work that has been epic, including a polarity integration to serve the Unity template. That's just some fancy speak for the fact that we are all beginning to remember that we are all one source, one heart, one love, the whole deal. So the Awakening the Healer Within series continues. This is Mount Moran. Behind me, I felt very pulled here today on Jackson Lake for a variety of reasons: the water element, the reflection, the mountain, the strength of the mountain, probably an activation today. And the topic for this part of the series that so wants to come through, and definitely I can speak directly to this in my own experience, is that we're going to invite a reflection about what happens when we stop hiding. And I was actually going to launch into talking about hiding from the world, but I immediately got interrupted, as per usual, from this, you take the me and flip it up to the we, and there's this greater multidimensional structure that we are, and set of collectives that is working now through us to say, hey, y'all in there, knock, knock. And so I often, you'll see me interrupt myself or get interrupted. I have an idea of what I'm going to say, and then of course, here it comes. So this is all part of me learning to flex and go with the flow and not have everything planned. I never know exactly what I'm going to say, just so you know, before I sit down. I have a rough idea, and then I let it flow. And I just share that in real time for those of you who, like me, were trained in a lot of academia to always feel like you have to know what you're going to say. My direct experience when we're putting together and piecing back together our higher dimensional templates, or I should say are comprehensive, more octaves out, like rings of a circle, back to all the way to the all-encompassing source self, it's best to be in the surrendered state to the unknown, to allow what wants to come through. So to that end, to segue back, it's less about when you stop hiding from the world. So that would be dealing like as a healer, trying to hide your gifts, your abilities, your sight, your knowing, your experiences from the world out there. That's a degree of projection. And we'll just drop the projection, move into reflection. Now I understand why we're called to the water today. And the reflection that's being invited is, how are you still hiding from yourself? What part of yourself, especially your maybe metaphysical self that's still considered paranormal, I use that term so loosely because multidimensional reality and the ecosystem is legitimately a part of living creation and is part of a larger reality system. So the term paranormal is extremely relative for me these days anyway. So back to the main message. What parts of yourself are you trying to hide from yourself still that you do not fully accept? This is the shortcut. And that's what this whole series is about, is helping you get into your full soul purpose alignment as a healer sooner rather than later, with a little less friction, a little more grace. And I am happy to put my hard-won stumbling, into service for you all, as well as the, channeling that comes through. So the invitation, again, we'll repeat, is to begin to invite a reflection. It will not come from this level of your awareness. It's going to come, in a series, I'm being told now, of self-reveals. Maybe out on a walk, on a paddle, on a swim, in the shower. The ways in which you are still hiding parts of yourself away that you do not fully accept, because it's always only ever a game of projection of your lack of self-acceptance and your own rejection out on others, to then say, see, they don't accept me. They reject me out here. It's quite the game, isn't it? We are so clever how we play this. So go ahead, I'm being told, connect into, there you go. Connect into the spirit of the mountain. Oh, there we go. Now that's what's coming through today as the activation, is the strength to accept all of yourself. and the pine squirrel agrees. Keep connecting in to the mountain. Yep, it's running a full transmission now. I feel a lot of throat chakra clearing for a lot of people, for myself included at the next level. I recently stopped hiding some pretty next level cosmic intrigue I lived through in 2021 onwards in a recent podcast interview on First Contact with Isha Patel. I didn't know I was going to share that until the moment came to share it, and it got basically the inner green light to share. So now we come to a bit of the nuance to the message. While we are inviting a reflection today of not hiding from ourselves, it is not always appropriate to self-disclose or self-reveal in certain circumstances. That will always be a custom tune into the field, what is of highest service. And this is why we're inviting the reflection of the ways in which you self-reject. Because if you do not turn and face and welcome this part of your shadow home, you will continue to be moving out from wounded motivation. And the temptation will be to, yes, hide. Hide like a professional. Anyone else know how to do that besides me? Professional hermit. But here's what's being highlighted. But it will also, on the flip side, drive you in a wounded, motivated state to try to impose your reality on others, which is not often in the highest aligned heart of service. There we go. Feel that. We're holding that steady. We're activating the heart of service in everyone right now. There we go. Might have felt your heart chakra go, woo. It's not about you. It's not about me. It's about the higher good. The highest timeline for all, which often does not involve self-disclosing, forcing, pushing our truth on others. That's our wounded motivation, our attachment to being right, being loved, being accepted, which is an inside job. So I love this because we're being given the formula. So put your self-love and acceptance first. Deal with your shadow of self-rejection. Clean that up, alchemize it, bring it home. And then as you move out, you're in a much cleaner state in the heart of service, in the way that it was originally designed, in the way that so many of us who are playing the healer role, go back to the first video in the series, playing the healer is still playing a role. Let's not get on our high horse or in a hierarchy about this. And this is how we do it most cleanly, most benevolently, without blind spots and shadow spots and wounded motivation, tainting, distorting. If any of you have ever had a conversation with someone who is really intent on getting their point, their truth across, you know what that feels like. It doesn't feel very good, does it? So people won't remember what you said. They'll remember how you made them feel. That's what's waiting for all of us at the end of our life review. And again, we're going to go to non-judgment and kisses. Thanks to Shirley for teaching me that hack, and hugs and giving yourself lots of love. When you stumble, you might go back into proselytizing and needing everybody to know what you know, and then catching yourself and realizing, that may not have been of the most service, and loving yourself anyway. So this is not about shaming ourselves. It's not about getting it right. It's about really leaning into all the little shadowy corners and blind spots in a loving way, because we are most aligned with the heart of service, and we are most interested in figuring out that kind of Rubiks Cube here of how do we do this in a way that is most aligned with unconditional love. In fact, not even aligned, it just is. It just is unconditional love, embodied, expressed, in action, in presence. The mountain doesn't have to try hard, right? It just is. So then let's get into why stop hiding and what happens when you stop hiding from yourself and you bring all this home. Well, in my direct experience, then everything you came to do starts to unfold and starts to build on itself, and the momentum is created. And we do live in a physical realm where, money is needed and groceries need to be bought and all that stuff. So abundance and flow versus stagnation and contraction. We go back into expansion and flow when we stop hiding from ourselves. So drop the projection of projecting your rejection onto others. That's not about them. We're going to work inside and say, how do I still self-reject? We're going to bring those parts home. And then we're going to move out in a state of healthy motivation, to be in a state of unconditional loving presence, to be of service wherever we go, without the need for people to see us or see what we see. If anything, what happens is, and I find this all the time, your ability and capacity to see others in a way that they have not been seen, to love others in a way that they have not been loved, to be love in a way that others have forgotten that they are love, becomes amplified and extraordinary. I take great delight in showing up in this way for waitstaff the world over, cashiers, other people who cross my path, seated next to me at a concert that happened in Fort Worth recently. I'm like, here we go, another healer getting an activation, right? So I see myself this YouTube channel is a wonderful way to connect with the world's healers at a whole nother level, which I've been called up and out of hermit mode off the mountain in North Carolina. And they're like, out you go. And I won't lie, I had to overcome some inertia because I had gotten used to just being in that state of having let everything go. So it's been an adjustment. But as I do that and as I intersect with more and more people, both here, all of your lovely comments, all of your support of one another and yourselves, first and foremost, like your loving comments about yourself, keep them up. You're setting a whole new standard for what unity consciousness looks and feels like on the planet. It's all starting here, right? And other channels like this and other groups. And pretty soon I'm being shown like ripples on the water. They start to intersect. And then it grows into one giant, right? Again, one heart, one people. So while retreat to reformat is very important, so is the coming back out into service. And I know many, many of you are being called up like never before. And I know you've gone through similar to what I've experienced, like fits and starts, like you think there's momentum and then it kind of comes back out. And what I'm being shown right now is that they're showing me, do you see the reflection of the mountain behind me? Your soul is interested in clearing all sorts of distortion. So you won't let yourself go full out until you really clear that. And you're not operating from wounded motivation. You're not posturing. You're not in a mask. You're in your most authentic, open-hearted, that heart of service activation we did earlier will help with this, so that your reflection is clear and true in a way that your soul is most interested in. The soul, compared to the human survival-based form, love you, human avatar, we love you. You're a very important part of the team and we get it. But let's be clear, the soul could care less about abundance and money in the way that the human form is. It wants to get things in alignment and on purpose and distortion free and wounded free first. So in my direct experience, you will not allow yourself to hit, the pedal to the metal, so to speak, until that gets cleared up. So that is what I'm being shown now, is creating a lot of the twists and turns a lot of you are experiencing, or the fits and starts. And when I look back on my own journey, that was certainly the case. And then I had to go through a huge reformatting from Asia Andromeda now to Aisha Love, legally changed my last name, followed all the inner prompts to do that, right? Yes, that took action. Yes, it took some interesting hoops. The actual court date with the judge was 7/7/21. So perfect. And so all of this to what end? Why stop hiding? Because when you get to come out in full heart of service, in alignment with your soul purpose, there's nothing like it. And that's what you all are being driven by right now. And yeah, I can feel the whole field responding to that. Your soul is so excited for that. You're human, not so much at times, right? It can create a lot of fear and friction and resistance. So this is where we're going to kind of wrap up this message with an invitation based on a huge remembering I had last week that I kind of went, whoa, I'm not sure if I can integrate that just yet, but it's been working on me. And it ties back to the original video in the series. Don't forget that playing the healer is still playing a role. And if we approached it with much less seriousness and intensity and brought in the levity and the joy and not taking ourselves so seriously, got a case of the seriousness. Everybody take a deep breath. Shake it out. Relax the jaw, soften the gaze. Takes you out of like, drama brain. Rescue, must do. Ease it all up, relax the shoulders. And that if this is the vessel, then so much of who you really are at the soul, over soul, and beyond level can come through, and you can all feel that. And then the benefit to the human form and this multidimensional self that you are is that you elevate. You're the first one to receive the service because it's literally coming through your vessel into this plane and beyond, depending on what scope you work on. So let's all put the levity in levitation, shall we? And lighten the F up as we align with our soul purpose path as healers. And let's use that term very loosely. I just use it as shorthand for those of us looking to answer the call to be in the heart of service in whichever way that is. And it does absolutely does it not mean, it does not mean that you have to show up as an energy practitioner of any kind. It just means that you're moving out from a heart of service. It doesn't even mean you have to quit your corporate job. It may mean that you're staying in there and you are an amazing emanation and a bright light, and you're beginning to impact the field around you so that systemic change begins to initiate from within. Some of you, yes, will be called to exit systems, but I'm being shown the vast majority now are doing the alchemy from within. Oh, I just felt relief. There was a lot of you that just went, oh, thank God. Right? And your body did that because it's been fearing like, how am I going to do this? How am I going to financially support myself with this? Do not pigeonhole or put in a box what a healer means and where a healer works is what I'm being told. We need you in all sectors of life. So I hope this message has been helpful. I hope this incredible energy from Mount Moran has been helpful. Just keep feeling it. Wow. And if this higher love alchemy stuff is speaking to you, I lovingly invite you to join the Higher Love family. It's my $33 a month membership program. It is frankly blowing all of our hearts and minds. That's right, squirrel. Can I get an amen? 3 different events each month, archives, recordings. It will help you move from the 2nd or 3rd floor to the 16th to 18th and stay there. That beautiful conversation we had a few vlogs back about my daughter and I, our experience at a resort in Oklahoma, recognizing that, ascension and moving into different dimensional vibrational coordinates isn't necessarily about, beam me off the planet, Scotty, as it is shifting into higher love coordinates. And then you are in a little bit of a different space and you'll be out in front and flowing in a different way with your physical reality. The amount of synchronicities that we deal with and we experience on a daily basis has become astronomical. It's like too many to even count. It's just kind of become a way of life. And this is absolutely our birthright. Love is our birthright, not fear. We will experience fear, but it's how we meet each moment with, an emanation of curated higher love and joy that makes all the difference. So I invite those of you called into that space. It's really a lovely community of super supportive people. And, we'll just keep getting the activations. We'll do the integrations, and then we'll do our global meditation every month in service. So if you want to be of more service, if you feel like you're just not in alignment with as much service as you'd like, it's another beautiful avenue for that as well. And as always, if you'd like more personal support, there are a few different options. And I actually have a couple of openings in my schedule coming up where I'm finishing up with a couple of clients. So I can take on some people longer term, if that speaks to you. Those are weekly Zoom meetings to move you right along in terms of catalyzing and aligning with your soul purpose on the planet. All right. I love you all so much. Have a magical multidimensional week. And as always, leave a comment about what you're experiencing in terms of hiding from yourself. Where do you still self-reject? And definitely take a moment to love up some other people in the comments. And let's show the world what's possible when love and unity are the order of the day. Mwah! So then let's get in. Cracking myself up. Blah, 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 blah.